This isn't yours, Jax. Hello, friends, family, total strangers. Today's video, I just realized I'm pulling the camera if I lean all the way back. Before I get into today's video, I just want to mention so many people who come to Arizona in the winter just stick to the desert, but you just have to watch the weather. You don't have to. Like I'm camped right now, I'm camped about 6,000 feet in elevation. I'm in the pine trees. It's beautiful. The Mogollon Rim area. It's awesome. It's beautiful. And totally clear of snow. Totally clear of snow. And the highs are in the mid 60s, mid to high 60s. It'll probably get close to freezing tonight, but big deal. I mean, that's what sleeping bags are for. And dogs to curl up with. This video is going to be on how I ended up moving into a van, like why I moved into a van. So for me, you know, there was a lot of different issues going on, but when you start looking into it, if you want a family, there's a really good reason to work a 40-hour-a-week job. If you want a house and land and space of your own and a TV and a boat and all that, those are really, you know, if that's what you really want, a 40-hour-a-week job is fine, you know, or if you want to put in 50 hours, whatever. But if you don't really want a family, and I don't, and if you don't want a boat or a big TV or to be tethered to one spot, there's no reason to work 40 hours a week, 50 weeks out of the year. There's no reason to do that. And that's the realization that I came to. And I wish I had come to it much earlier in my life. But I love to travel. I love to see new places. Where are you going, Jax? Luckily, he's tethered this time. Speaking of tethers. There's no reason to work 50 weeks out of the year if you don't want a family and you don't want property and you don't want to be tethered to a spot and, you know, the stuff in your life isn't that important to you. It's obvious, but it isn't, because so many people like me just didn't put it together. You know, like, I don't want those things. I want to be able to travel. I want to be, you know, able to drive across the country and work 5 months out of the year and take 7 months off. That's what this last year, it ended up being 5 months working, 7 months off. 22 weeks working, 30 weeks off. Awesome. That's awesome. Now, what you do in that time, I'm actually going to do a completely different video for, do I get bored, you know, not working for 7 months? Which, if you get bored, you're doing it wrong. But yeah, that's a separate video. So this one is just primarily about why I chose to move into a van. So I was working a job. I was working, you know, 50 weeks out of the year. I had gotten a salary position, and it could have been a career field in doing inventory management. And, you know, my work was fine at first. I didn't mind it. But after about 6 months, I just got bored with it. And then all of this stuff started to come into line. So I couldn't get I couldn't take 2 weeks off at a time. my job, nobody else could do it, so all I could take off is 1 week at a time, and I only got 2 weeks out of the year. And I love to travel, and I had come from a job where I got, essentially I was able to work it out the last couple of years. I had a month off every year, which was great. And once I got down to where I just had 2 weeks, 1 week at a time, you really can't travel international with that, or at least if you do, you're spending half your time flying. And I just started to make plans like, okay, I'll do this job for a while, but I don't want to do this forever. I want to travel. So I cracked this idea to retire at the age of 50 in Thailand. So at the age of 50, you can get a retirement visa in Thailand. So at the time I was 38, and I thought, I'll just save $1,000 a month. I'll figure out ways to cut corners, and I'll save $1,000 a month for the next 12 years, and I'll have $120,000, which should be able to get me 10 years in Thailand, and then after that, point, I could get my 401k from my job that I had a long time, and then, eventually Social Security, and I could just live off that, and that was it. I could retire at the age of 50. But as I started doing it, as I got about, maybe a year into that, it was like, no. I can't do this for 12 years. Why don't I half retire? So I cracked this idea to half retire. So I would work half the year in Jackson Hole, the summer season, and then I would go to Thailand in the winters, which I am not that big of a winter guy. So I hate winters, actually. So that's why I cracked that idea. And so I decided if I'm going to live in Jackson in the summers, what am I going to have to get an apartment every year, like a new place? So I decided, well, maybe I could just live out of a van or something. And so once I started to research into it, I realized, oh, well, I could just cut this whole Thailand part out of it and just live in a van. And if I want to take trips to Thailand, I can, because the cost of both is similar. Just like living in a van, you can go as low as $500 a month in Thailand, but a comfortable budget is probably $800 or even up to $1,000. Same with a van, at least for the way I van live. I have a fuel efficient vehicle, so it's probably a little more actually to live in a van than to live in Thailand. But yeah, so here I am living in a van, traveling the country, seeing beautiful places, seeing friends that I haven't seen in years because I'm not tethered to a spot, being able to respond to emergencies. I've had 2 major family emergencies come up where, I was the one that was able to respond because everybody else was, working, didn't have the money, didn't have all that. I could respond, and if I use up all my money, I just get a job and replace it because I just don't need that much to live. The other thing that this gives you the opportunity to do, what are you barking at, buddy? The other thing this gives you the opportunity to do living in a van is, if I only need $700-800 a month to live, I don't necessarily have to do other jobs. Like, lots of people are making a living, doing what they love and figuring out how to make money from it. And this working at Amazon really honed in for me. Like, I don't have to, work these crappy jobs. If I only need to average $800 a month, I can start working for myself, trying to get my own stuff off the ground. And that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to try to start recording music, and I'm going to, I'm making these YouTube videos, and I don't know, that might just be a piece of the puzzle, but, maybe YouTube would end up being more. I don't know. We'll see. I'm not too worried about it, but yeah, you don't need to make that much money. And if you don't need to make that much money, it's great for starting up your own business. You could save enough. You could save enough in a summer working at a resort town. So this summer I'm probably going to work in Jackson. I'll probably work about 5 months. And in 5 months, I expect I should have at least $5,000 saved in 5 months. So I'll have at least $5,000 at that point. And with that, you can use that to live off of for a while, to start up a business, to really, jump into it. You can use that as, you can do it for a year. You can work for a year straight through, have $12,000 and use that to start up your business. You have so many options. It gives you so many options living in a van. So I know this video is going over long, so I'll probably just cut it short. But living in a van is not for everybody. It really isn't. I would say less than 1% of the population would be happy living in a van. You have to be really flexible. So I am not trying to preach. I'm not trying to talk anybody into moving into a van. But I guess I'm just trying to reach out to people like me who just hadn't really audited their life and realized, audited their time and realized, I don't need to work 40 hours, 50 weeks out of the year to get what I want to get out of life. And I want to travel. I want to play banjo. I want to cook. I want to spend my time cooking and making amazing meals for myself and hiking. And that's what I want to do with my time. And I don't want to work. I don't want to work 40 hours for somebody else doing something that's barely tolerable, that just grinds me down, So, yeah, here I am. And as it is, I still have that, 5 months where I'm slightly ground down. But as it's been, I've only worked 2 months at a time. I haven't worked more than, since I've been on the road, I haven't worked more than 2 months. Has been my longest gig, 9 weeks. So, at that point, it's fine. You work your 9 weeks and then you travel for a couple months, and then you work for 5 weeks and you travel for a couple months, and that's the way it's been. But it doesn't have to be that way even. You can make a living if all you need is $1,000 or less a month. You can totally make a living doing something you want to do, starting your own business, and just have that balance of, if you're doing something you love to make money, you're not really working. And that's where I want to be. That's where I want to be, whether it's making videos or playing music and recording it, or doing a travel blog or whatever. That's what I want, and that's what I'm going to make happen. So, thanks for watching. Please like, comment, subscribe, all that stuff. Thanks.